first question is, what do you think and feel about the activity overall? What did the activity mean to you? For me, I think this activity, this race, was kind of a big act of perseverance for me. It was actually pretty painful to run, and I tried to stretch and make sure I felt really up to it, up to the race. But it was painful, and it was an experience which was a little harder. But I really liked. I think it showed that I could do it no matter what, and that I was going to persevere through the challenge of having a little bit of an injury and not having the best lung capacity. I did improve my time. I got down to a 24:33, and I mean, I think that's not my best time. My best time was a 20:50, but I think just through this hard summer season where I've been injured off and on, and cross country really hasn't been as easy as it usually is for me because of that. But I think it was overall a really good experience, and it really meant that I could get through running, and running was that essential to me that I could persevere despite the hardship it is. The next question is, what value or benefit did this activity have for those being served or impacted? Did you actually help, and if so, how? For me, I think the real person who is being served here was myself, because it is an activity, a running activity, something that is self-beneficial. But I do think in a way I did kind of bring a lot of support from my team members who did really well. Like a younger girl on our team, Rosie Bequi, she did phenomenal. She got a really good time, and I think just being there to support her and show my commitment to coming despite having a church service that day, and just being there for my friends, my cross-country teammates, I think that actually helped in that way. And honestly, I think it helped my confidence and my show of dedication for myself, just to know that despite the hardship it was, that I could get through it. And I think it helped definitely my confidence, because I think just knowing that I could improve my time just in those weeks, like after I had taken off time for an injury, I think it was really important to see how I could improve, and that it was for something. And I think in that way it actually helped a lot. The next question is, did you meet your goals and learning outcomes? And it says to reference each explicitly, and how. If you kind of go back to what I did, or what my learning goals were and the outcomes, I said I wanted to be committed, and I said I wanted to show leadership and perseverance. For commitment, I think I really did reach that goal, despite my shins not feeling the best that day, despite there was a church service that I really wanted to go to. I went anyway, and I went with my team, and I think it was all worth it in the end. And I showed commitment through my training before, which had not been easy. Just taking the time off in cross training, I think that was a big show of commitment to me, because I could have just given up. I could have just taken off time and not done anything. But I did try to keep my fitness up to par with everybody else, despite not being able to actually run. I biked, I did as much as possible, and I think in the way of commitment, I really think that showed through the activity, through that day. And even my coach, she told me how she was proud that I had done it, and she thought it was a good race for me. It was a good it was a little bit of a shorter, flatter race, so I do think that showed commitment. And of course, perseverance. I definitely think I showed a little bit more gain in that, in my learning experience for that, because I think just through persevering through that pain and learning that sometimes it takes just a little bit more mental capacity in running than physical capacity. I think I did learn a lot about that, and how I could be successful despite the hardships and the grit it took. Despite not being the most talented on a team by far, I really tried to persevere could have been a really hard thing for a lot of people. And I think that shows just, a personal growth within myself, because, I pushed harder than before despite being in more pain. And then finally, for leadership, I think, and in a team spirit, that learning outcome, I think I did, grow in that. I was able to, interact with my teammates, hype them up, just make it a good experience for all of us, and then, accept them and their, their enthusiasm. I think that was really good experience in that way, and honestly, I think that I did improve in that way. I had a lot of self-doubt coming into it, because I didn't think I would do that well, and, I was just kind of putting myself down a lot, but, I took that day and I took that time beforehand to understand that I'm just coming from where I can come from. I'm coming from a lower place, but I'm going to try my best, and there's a lot of people on my team who, they train every day, and they work hard, and they don't put themselves down before the race, because they know they're just coming from a place where that's all they can give. So I just went at it with that attitude, and I honestly think I improved in that way, and I showed leadership. I showed other people that you can be proud of yourself despite not doing your absolute best. So I think in that way, I think I met my learner profile goals. The next question, I think I kind of went over a little bit, but it says, what did you learn from this activity, and how might you extrapolate from this to apply any lesson to your life more generally? Honestly, I think I learned a lot. I learned a lot about perseverance and, not self-doubting yourself, and, having commitment to something that is harder in a circumstance. Honestly, if I could apply it to the rest of my life and the general lessons that I could learn from each thing, I would say that this lesson of perseverance, even though I was in pain, even though it was not the most convenient thing to do that day, I had to get my own ride. I had to, make sure I had everything myself, because I was the only one going in my family. So I think it kind of just shows that despite something being hard, despite it being the painful choice, despite it not being the easiest, despite the easiness to let go and to just say, no, not today, not going to do that. It shows that I have the ability to get through and do the race and do whatever it is I am set forth to do, because all it shows is that you don't need that skill, that innate skill, that skill that's just there. You just need the confidence to kind of commit to it and do the best despite your limitations, because in the end that is the true gain. And just don't be afraid to step into those situations that are harder, and take a lot of strength and courage to get into, because it'll be worth it in the end, and you'll just feel proud that you went through that and you weren't afraid to put yourself out there. So I think that's definitely something I learned from this. It was a really good experience. It was a good race. I have a couple more races that I've put in here, but overall they're always great, and I was glad I did this one, and I kind of looked at it from that perspective of an IB CAS experience, because otherwise I wouldn't have thought so deeply about it and kind of retrospectively looked upon myself while I was doing it. So it was a great race, and that's pretty much it. Thank you.